Okay people, so it's some time later, but we are exactly where we left off before, with a couple of little exceptions. I guess the first thing to bring up is that I made my first mistake in this sequence. If this is the only one that I make, and if I come up with something successful, I'll be righteously proud of myself. So that's a minor aside, really. The second thing is that I'm running without a monitor, so I don't even know if I'm going to get usable footage today. I ran into some problems with the hookup of the monitor to my camera, and I honestly don't know which way it's going to go. So there's that. I guess the only other thing is that I am just thoroughly depressed. No, that's not true, because the world is incapable of depressing me, but I've spent last night and some of this morning searching YouTube, looking for answers to some of the questions that I've had about how this is actually effected. And there's a few things that I can tell you. One is that I am never going to be your typical YouTube channel. Holy cow, people. I go through long stretches when I ignore the world around me, and I do my best to put the right construction on things and think highly of my fellow man. And I have got to tell you, there is so much. Okay, information comes in many, many, many forms. I'm going to repeat what I say in another video. And this probably originated back in the heyday of the newspapers, back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. The man who doesn't read the newspaper is uninformed. The man who does is misinformed, and that's generally taken as a political statement. But I went on to, some people got a hold of me and said, hey, there's other people using Gords Method on the inner tube, and there's other people this and that. So I went and searched. There is a third form. There's uninformed, there's misinformed, and then there is just, I don't even know how to put a name on it. There is so much endless drivel of non-information. It's none of the above. Uninformed means that you're out actively searching and can't find an answer, or that you don't care and you're not looking for an answer, or in some other way answers are out there but you're not in the loop. Misinformed is generally people with an agenda spinning, turning things. But this non-information, there's always been non-information. I've called it smoke and mirrors. In the industry that I live and breathe in, which is construction, it runs on smoke and mirrors. It runs on convincing people that you need one of these, and people are trained not to even ask why, just to be convinced that they need one of these. But I have to tell you, non-information on the internet has achieved a life of its own. I went to some of these other YouTube sites, and there were a few things I learned. One is that I'm going to ask for your help. I misspeak a lot on these videos because they're not edited. That's a problem that I find humorous. It's tremendous. One of the videos just recently, I called this the tailstock. I mean, I'm just talking and extemporating and stuff comes out. But please, people, if you ever hear me use words like non-trivial, or if I use the word awesome, and I am not describing our loving God or one of his creations, please, please call me on it. There is so much simple, stupid drip out there that it trains us to have trouble separating the wheat from the chaff. I talk to people And they're like, well, yeah, so-and-so said this. And I said, well, how did he support it? What does that, the fact that he said it doesn't mean, I mean, we have to regain our ability, people, to take in information, analyze that information, and decide for ourselves whether or not this information is useful. I'm a verbose guy. I'm a word guy. I'm a communicator extraordinaire. I like to express myself well and clearly. You know, as a contractor, I tell people my phone is on 24/7, which is true. I'll turn the ringer off when I don't want to pick it up, but the point is, you can reach me, you can call me. Don't ever let the opportunity slip to communicate. But we do communicate, and a lot of people do find it frustrating because I ask questions they don't know how to answer or haven't even formulated yet. But that's my job. I'm a foundation contractor, so we go out and we set grades and we set up houses for their final presentation, and so we're good at that. And we're used to non-information, but I have got to tell you, the non-information that I saw a guy, and I don't know how this person could do what he did with a straight face. He claims to be an information channel, just the genius of all. Teach you how to do everything from reloading to building a gun from the ground up. And I keyed on it because I searched Gords Method, and sure enough, here I go. I've been running a lathe since the 80s, and Gords Method is one that I use, and blah blah blah, and he goes through, and of course there's no method shown. There's absolutely nothing shown. There's no turning, no headspace, and just talk of all this stuff I've done. Boom! Camera pans back, and there's a 3-jaw chuck in the lathe. I can't wrap my head around that level of stupid. Either this person's audience is too stupid, or he thinks they are too stupid, or he is too stupid. Words fail. Well, no, words don't fail me. That's the problem. Words never fail me. But kind words, non-disparaging words, non-accusatory words sometimes do fail me. And I'm telling you that words fail me right now to describe the state of information that's available anywhere not bench rest central as related to guns. And that's all. That's my rant of the day. So now to the screw up. I left you guys with having taken these cases. I hope these are showing up on the camera, because I'm going to go around and check right now and see if the viewfinder is still on. There's a few things I can't tell when I don't have a monitor. I can't really tell focus, unfortunately. I can't tell when I'm running out of time. I can't. So maybe that will, you know, brevity is the soul of wit. So maybe it'll shorten me up a little bit. But where we left off was, I'm trying Jackie Schmidt's method of turning necks. I was all excited about it when we left. I've got a bunch of necks turned down to size. I've gone through and checked them with a pain gauge. I found a fit that I seem to, that seems like it can work. As I turned off the video, I was going to grind a cutter. It was at that point that I realized that there's one thing I really blew up on this. I formed a lot of cases using every method up to, but not including this. When I get the cases to this point where I'm heeling them closed into the gun, where they're tight in the gun and ready to fire for them, I fill them up to about here with Clay's shotgun powder, and I take them outside and go kapow. This time I decided, well, I've got 2 new barrels to break in. Why don't I go ahead and, well, some of you are probably getting ahead of me here and understanding the problem that I've generated for myself. All of my careful headspace work may well be for naught, because I may find that when I turn back and feather into the shoulder, as I'd like to, I lose that headspace. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this camera off, because I don't want this to drag on and on and on. what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some series here that are still going to be saved on film, but because I'm self-editing as I go, and I've got some hours of film where I'm fiddling around doing stuff that is uninteresting, I don't want that to turn into this. So I'm going to turn the camera on in short bursts and starts, and this is going to be on again, off again. The first thing I have to do is really take one of these cases and blow it up and find those angles. Then I'm going to have to turn one, and before I do that I think I'm going to go in and make about 5 more because I'm going to wreck some. You all remember I marked these, I had this big plan. Well, my plan just went in the gutter, my plan just went in the dirt, because when I recut that shoulder my headspace is gone. So I need to find out what I'm going to do with this bucket of cases. I might end up having to take these out and shoot them and fire form them conventionally. Conventionally to me, still a very unconventional way. I use shotgun or pistol powder, nothing else. Just naked, just powder. All I do is stick a little piece of tissue paper in each of these when I'm carrying them around so the wind doesn't suck particles up out, because I want them to all be hit the same. That's my problem, but it works. My cases are unbelievably fantastic. So, I normally fill these with powder. I go outside, I take a barreled action, and I wear a glove on this hand, and I take an old trash barrel, and I go ka-tang, poop, ka-tang, poop, ka-tang, poop. And it's loud, by the way. The first time I ever did this, no, I didn't. It was the first time I ever fired a primer, I guess. It wasn't, I didn't fire for them indoors, but one time long ago in my ute, which was more than 2 years ago, I did fire a primer inside on purpose in the gun store. Just like, well, the powder's pulled, let's kill this primer, pointed it at the sky, and had 12-foot ceilings, and it only knocked 3 ceiling tiles out. But worse than that, I just kind of averted my head and tucked my little one ear into my elbow, or into my shoulder. The other ear, unfortunately, was hanging right out there in the wind, and it did generate some. But anyway, I'm just telling stories because I think they're funny. Here we are. I need to set up a head spacing situation. So, camera's going off. I'm going to still try to document each step, screw up or not. I just don't want these to all run together into the 10 minutes while I eyeball and look this up and find my angles.